My mama has messaged proud of me. Fantastic. Beautiful motivation first thing in the morning. Namaste everyone. How's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Naked with Sirhud. What we're going to talk about is Amar's question, which is how to let go or move on from a toxic relationship. All right, so let me get in my love guru mode. And today we'll talk about negativity. All right. So, I've got one tool for this guy, right? Mr. Amar. Amar is asking how to let go from a toxic relationship or move on. Now, the number one thing, now this is a guy, right? Amar is usually a guy in a country like India. And since the question is coming in from a guy, normally what happens is that the more a guy gets hurt by a woman, whether it is in the form of his mother in his childhood, whether it is in the form of, I'm not saying everyone's freaking mother hurts them, I'm just saying there are some cases, whether, look at me politically correcting myself, fuck that, all mothers are bad, all right, I'm kidding. But basically, mother, sister, the first heartbreak, first few multiple heartbreaks, it could be any particular reason why a man starts incurring damage from women, and that could be one after another on a case by case basis. So first of all, that, and I'm just sharing this because actually I had a client call recently where somebody has a very big resentment for women now, even in his mid 20s, simply because he's gone through a bunch of different kind of tormenting experiences from women in the form of a few different people. So I'm just putting this out there that sometimes these seeds get planted way before we even realize that something is messing with our head or the way we are going to connect in the future with people, whether it's in the form of a friendship or a relationship or whatever. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is that no matter when something turns toxic, even if it is any kind of an experience, be it with a friend or if it is a relationship which has gone bad and you want to move on from it. Now, what happens is when it started out and when it was good, you had a particular level of emotional intelligence or EQ, if you want to call it that, right? So what happens is that at that level, combined with whatever emotions you have for that person, there can be a bias for you to look at everything in the negative light simply because you like to imagine a positive scenario with that other person when things are going good, and when it turns toxic or when it turns bad and you want to move on, what happens is that on one side you don't want to let go of that scenario, and on the other hand, let's say if that partner has fully broken up with you, then you're stuck. You don't want to let go of the scenario, but at the same time this person does not want to be with you anymore, or is using the fact that you want to be with them and is just turning that into a toxic cycle of them using you for as and when they want and not giving a shit otherwise. All right, so how you move on from that? Basically, back at that level, when you started out imagining all these scenarios versus now when you're coming to the stage where you're taking help and looking on Google or Instagram or talking to people like me who don't know jack shit about life, you're asking me how to move on from a toxic relationship. What happens is that you need to realize there's a lot of hurt probably built up in you, and that hurt, you have allowed it to remain within you, and that starts transpiring into a different form of output. That could be hatred for that other person, that could be vengefulness, that could be a feeling of resentment towards getting attracted to the opposite gender any more in the future. That could be also a desire to get revenge from that person in the form of hurting them per se, or hurting them through something else. Now you need to realize, if you are the source of creating a negative emotion, or if you are the source of creating a negative feeling, and it is towards another person or another thing, even if there is some lunatic on the road who beats up a dog, for example, when you are the source of bad or evil or negativity, you do need to realize that in some way you're harming yourself, and the action that you're taking in the physical world is just a projection of you in reality putting it onto something else. So it's a reflection of what is happening to you on the inside, and it just transpires in one form or the other on the outside. All right, so what you need to realize is that if you are the source of something bad, that means you are the creator of that negativity. And I'm not saying that you're not human, you cannot feel these kind of negative emotions at all, you cannot feel anger, resentment, whatever, hatred. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that you are in control of what you give birth to. All right. And if, for example, Amar is somewhere in a place of toxicity, he can now choose where he wants to go with that toxicity. He can choose whether he wants to let this be converted into a negative, projection within him, where he does not take conscious control over the feelings or the emotions that are coming up. He's letting them be there. He's not taking conscious control, which can happen as simply as understanding that maybe the other person is doing what they're doing because that's what's best for them according to them. Everybody has a good intention at some point or at some level, and I'm not saying that it's necessary that they're doing this only with a good intention. Maybe their EQ is very low, maybe their emotional intelligence of understanding how what the other person is going through is very low. So you can find a decent reason to not let the negativity affect you, and the number one reason is if it's coming from somewhere towards you, right, and you're feeling like, oh shit, now I hate this person, or okay, I'm stuck, I'm in a very desperate and needy situation. On one side, I'm not gonna get this person, on the other side, they're treating me like shit, so I don't want to go, they're treating me like shit. It's a continuous loop, alright? But the way you let this physical loop materialize within you in the form of feelings is under your control. Because if you let it